The house that AJ Styles built has just seen its final sunset, and the foundation of professional wrestling will never feel the same again. Welcome to Wrestling Apocalypse. Tonight, we aren't just breaking down a match, we are witnessing the end of an era. We are talking about a moment that has left 40,000 fans in Indianapolis in tearful silence and millions more around the world staring at their screens in disbelief. At the 2026 Royal Rumble, we didn't just see a winner and a loser, we saw the passing of a torch that burned for over 2 decades. The phenomenal one, AJ Styles, has officially competed in his final match, falling at the hands of the most ruthless force in modern history, the ring general, Gunther. To understand the weight of what happened tonight, you have to understand the stakes leading into this. For months, AJ Styles had been a man possessed. He wasn't just wrestling for titles anymore, he was wrestling for his soul. He'd been telling us in every promo, with that grit in his voice and that fire in his eyes, that if he couldn't beat the best of the new generation, he didn't belong in the ring anymore. And who is more the best than Gunther? The man who held the Intercontinental title for a record-breaking eternity, the man who treats the mat like a sacred battlefield. Gunther didn't just want AJ's spot, he wanted to prove that the old guard had no place in his WWE. The atmosphere inside the stadium was unlike anything I've ever felt. It wasn't the typical rowdy Rumble crowd. There was a reverence in the air. When the first few bars of "They Don't Want None" hit the speakers, the roar wasn't just loud, it was desperate. It was the sound of a fan base trying to hold onto a legend for just one more night. AJ walked down that ramp with a look of absolute focus, no pyro, no flashy entrance, just a man walking toward his destiny. On the other side stood Gunther, statuesque, arms folded, looking like the personification of inevitable doom. The match itself was a masterpiece of storytelling. It wasn't a high-flying spectacle, it was a war of attrition. Every time AJ tried to speed things up, Gunther would catch him with a chop that sounded like a gunshot echoing through the rafters. You could see the welts forming on AJ's chest within the first 5 minutes. But AJ, he wouldn't stay down. He was hitting Pele kicks that looked like they were fueled by pure adrenaline. He caught Gunther in a calf crusher that had the ring general actually reaching for the ropes, a moment where the entire world held its breath. For a split second, we all believed in the miracle. We all thought the house would stand forever. But the brilliance of Gunther is his relentless efficiency. He waited. He absorbed the best AJ had to give. And then, the turning point came. AJ went for the phenomenal forearm, the move that has ended 1,000 matches. He leaped, he soared, and Gunther caught him mid-air with a devastating powerbomb. The impact didn't just rattle the ring, it rattled the building. AJ kicked out at 2, a testament to his legendary heart, but the end was written on the wall. Gunther applied the sleeper hold, and as AJ's eyes began to glaze over, the stadium went quiet. There was no tapping out. AJ Styles went out on his shield, losing consciousness as the referee called for the bell. What happened next is what really tore the heart out of the WWE Universe. Gunther, a man who rarely shows emotion, didn't celebrate. He stood up, looked down at the fallen legend, and gave a stiff, respectful nod before exiting the ring. He left the stage to AJ. As the trainers rushed in, AJ waved them off. He struggled to his feet, using the ropes for support, the crowd rising in a standing ovation that lasted for what felt like an eternity. The dialogue in the ring, caught by the ambient mics, was heartbreaking. You could hear AJ whisper to the referee, "That's it. It's over." He took off his gloves and laid them in the center of the ring. For those of us who have followed his career from the high-flying days in the Indies to the heights of Japan and finally his phenomenal run in WWE, this was more than a retirement. It was the closing of a chapter of our lives. Backstage insights suggest that this wasn't a sudden decision. We're hearing that AJ had been contemplating this since the beginning of the year, wanting to go out while he could still deliver a 5-star classic. He didn't want to be the guy who stayed too long. He wanted his final image to be one of greatness, even in defeat. And tonight, he gave us exactly that. The locker room was reportedly lined up at the gorilla position when he walked back through the curtain. Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, even the younger guys from NXT, all there to clap him in. There wasn't a dry eye in the building. From a fan's perspective, the reaction is a mix of grief and gratitude. You look at social media right now and it's a flood of "thank you AJ" messages. He was the guy who proved that size didn't matter, that indie guys could be the face of the biggest company in the world. He was the standard bearer for a generation. Losing him to Gunther is a bitter pill to swallow, but narratively, it makes sense. The ring general is the new mountain, and tonight, the old mountain finally crumbled. But let's talk about the apocalypse factor here. What does WWE look like without AJ Styles? He was the safety net. He was the man you put in the ring with anyone to guarantee a great match. His absence leaves a void that Gunther, despite his dominance, can't fill with technique alone. We are entering a darker, more rigid era of WWE under Gunther's thumb, and tonight was the first day of that new world. As the show went off the air, the final shot wasn't of the Rumble winner or the championship, it was a lingering shot of AJ's glove sitting alone in the ring under a single spotlight. It was haunting. It was beautiful. It was phenomenal. AJ Styles didn't just wrestle, he defined what it meant to be an artist in that ring. He gave us the Styles Clash, the forearm, and 1,000 memories that will be replayed as long as wrestling exists. So, as we process this massive shift in the landscape, I want to hear from you, the Apocalypse faithful. Where does AJ Styles rank in your all-time top 10? What was your favorite phenomenal moment? Was Gunther the right man to end this legendary career, or should it have been someone else? Drop your tributes in the comments below. Let's turn this section into a Hall of Fame for the man from Gainesville. If you're feeling the weight of tonight's news like we are, do us a favor and hit that like button to honor the legacy of AJ Styles. If you want to stay updated as we track the fallout of this retirement and see who steps up to fill the void, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Apocalypse and turn on those notifications. We're going to be breaking down the backstage reaction and the future of Gunther all week long. The house that AJ built might have a new owner, but the legend of the phenomenal one is immortal. Thanks for watching, stay phenomenal, and we'll see you at the next ringside seat to history.